Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Khurram Khan representing Stryvve, Pakistan. I'm your host for today's webinar on managing people in art or science with our guest speaker, Muhammad Anwar. Before moving forward with our discussion on the subject, I'd like to give you a little bit of intro about Stryvve Pakistan. The Stryvve Pakistan is primarily a skill development facilitator that believes in interacting, motivating, and encouraging to learn, excel, and succeed. Stryvve's focus areas are consult, develop, and train, and we apply these three on business management at large, personal and professional development of people, technical skill enhancement, and last, but surely no less, technological innovation. Now I'd like to introduce my guest speaker, Muhammad Anwar, who is a senior manager at AKUH, Aga Khan University Hospital. But he is not just a senior manager there. He has been serving in capacity of head of contact center, appointment management system, information services, and referral officers. So there's a big portfolio under him. And by education, he's an MPA, a Master's in Public Administration, with specialization in MIS and marketing. Currently, he's pursuing his MPhil degree, and the topic of his thesis is consumer behavior in modern healthcare in Pakistan. Anwar has, mashallah, traveled many places, traveled overseas for professional reasons, quite many places, of course. He has managed diversified teams of individuals with different nationalities and as massive as 300 to 400 people. A specialist of service industry, I must say. Anwar's experience is not entirely pertinent to Pakistan, but he has worked for quite some years in UAE. He has been associated with some renowned organizations, including Mobilink, Lakson Group, McDonald's, UAE, AC Nielsen, UAE, Unilever, Interwood, Toyota Motors, Colgate-Palmolive, and Express News. Welcome, Anwar. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, actually, for inviting me on discussing on this very interesting topic. It's one of my core and passion.
Pleasure is ours to have you here on the show. So we should move on with our discussion for today's topic, that is managing people and art or science. Though we are definitely interested to know whether it's an art or science, Anwar will definitely be able to guide us on the subject and will let us know how he thinks about it through the vast experience that he has. I must let all our viewers know that Anwar has more than a decade and a half, has an experience of more than a decade and a half serving in different service industries, but primarily in customer service oriented tasks. And he has led many projects for different multinationals and local companies. So Anwar, I would like to know that what is the first thing a people's manager needs to do?
So it's or whatever we'll be discussing. I mean, I just want to draw a line here. As people management is primarily subjective stuff, and you cannot draw a hardcore line that what is wrong and what is right. That's why in different diversity or different type of people, you may need to apply different techniques. But we'll be discussing in general, and we will not be focusing much on what is already written and available on the net, and where we all are on the same page. So those which are universal truth kind of stuff, so we'll not get much detail out of it. So regarding your question, what first thing people manager needs to do is to manage a team of more than, let's say, 5, 10, or even one person or hundreds. You first need to gain their trust. And without their trust, I mean, you cannot apply even a single technique of people management. If your team is not trusting you, or you, and I'm not talking about one way, it's two-way traffic. So you need to build that trust on your team, and a team needs to build that trust. but because you are the one who is in need, so you will need to put that effort for both sides. I mean, to gain their trust and to get to build your trust on them as well. So until or unless you don't have that trust over the relation with the team, uh, you cannot take even the first step in people management. But how to gain that trust is a long story, but one liner, I mean, for layman perspective, I used to give this example in the few of my corporate trainings, and that the ultimate objective is that the point you need to reach is like a parent. Even how I should articulate it, that even if your parents slap you on the street, in 99% of cases, you have that trust that whatever he has done is for some reason, and you don't mind that.
Absolutely.
But if your neighbor or someone unknown even call you loudly, or you mind actually, it's just because that you trust your parents that this person has invested on me, and he always whatever he is doing is in good faith of mine. So we need to achieve that level first. So it's a long process how you gain, and then once we'll go further, I'll further brief on this.
Don't you think that this trust element can make the employees take advantage? Because if we look at it from this perspective, I mean, as you just mentioned that this is both way. This is a process that works from both ways. So since the manager also trusts his employees, so don't you think that employees can take advantage of this relationship and trust?
Yes, many people ask this question whenever I tell them to adopt a people-oriented approach and act as a parent, uh, like a father or mother. Uh, so they always come up with this response: no, we even if we go this level, people start abusing this relationship. So my response is that uh, let's say if they are not abusing, what is happening? It's they are actually bluffing you. So it's more dangerous. So what happens with this trust relationship? Let's say you have started trusting them and they have started trusting you. There is always a 80-20 rule. So 80% people will not abuse. There is always 20% who will abuse this relationship. Oh, my boss trusts me a lot. He don't manage me at micro level, and but that actually helps the organization and yourself as well. Actually, this thing exposes them loudly. If let's say if I am managing a team at micro level, there are or I have put in lots of controls and lots of KPIs and measurements and everything. What will happen? You will not be able to see who is doing it from heart and who is doing it uh, from will.
Yes.
So this will help you actually. I really want my team, I mean, those people to get exposed, especially in your early days with a team. Let them do, just guide them, guide them, and but don't micromanage them, and let them, and let's see who is doing what. And then you will identify, okay, I have these 8 people and I have these 2 people. So you can easily make a team out of it.
Right. So you mean that instead of just looking at it from this perspective, that people may take advantage of this relationship or trust, you get the opportunity as a manager to look at them at large, and who is doing it as who's taking it as just I mean his assignments or your given tasks as just as a compulsion, or doing it as at his own will.
Yeah, because just like you cannot micromanage all the time. So you need to come up with a system where people do it on their own. So it's a long-term stuff. And if you keep on monitoring, or you put a system in place where they've been managed very closely with the strict rules, so they will only be productive as long as they've been monitored. And as soon as the you might have seen those jokes and videos. Okay, boss is on off. Everyone is taking out their stuff and
having party at the office and stuff.
Yeah, but if you are in that relation, so even if you are not there, your team would be on the show.
Right. So as you just mentioned about productivity of the employees, if someone turns out to be a little even more unproductive, or visibly unproductive, and there's a matter of indiscipline as well in your team. So without leaving any negative impression or on the other team members, how can we take tough decisions, and of course against the team members who are behind these elements of unproductivity and indiscipline?
So I'll take you back to that parent role, a motherly nature of a people manager. So that means that first you need to do a lot for them. Like if you are a manager or a leader or a supervisor or a team leader even. So you need to judge yourself first. I'll get back to your question, but I'm just giving you the backup so that you will understand my answer, or people, viewers who are listening to this. So you need to give a lot. What a mother do, what she does, she invests 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And for certain years, your father and mother has invested on you. Okay. So whatever they will do, you will trust on them. Same for the people managers and these team leaders or supervisors. You need to see yourself that what you have done so far for your team, whether they're for their motivation, for their better work-life balance, for their benefits, and for their families, and for their career growth, and for their professional success, how much you taught them. If you feel that now you have done enough, and you have that relationship, and you have seen those two people who are exposed now out of because of this liberty of relation or this trust, at this point, if you will take harsh decision that okay, these two are not the right fit for the team, and you are even, I'm going to the extreme, if you're terminating them, the rest of the 8 people will not mind. Why? Because they have seen you investing a lot on them. They have seen you trusting you. They have seen you, you are trusting them. They have seen you fighting for yourself, motivating you, striving for their career growth. So there will be no impact, but they will even respect or appreciate whatever you have done. But just consider a situation where a new manager joins a new team, and in early days, a month or in 3 months, he believes that these two people are not good. He's right. He's right that these people are not. And he has terminated. But there are high chances that team will feel, because they have not been exposed to everyone. People don't know that they are not right for the team. Only the manager knows. So never ever do such thing among any team until you believe that your team knows what you are doing.
And until the time that
they're fully exposed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a trust develops in them for you.
Yeah. Same in my team. I have in most of my organization, I have the most friendly relation with my team. We play, we dine out, we work, and I don't micromanage them.
Means that
They
they
give
don't need to. They don't need to find an opportunity. It means they don't need to look for an opportunity that you are absent from office.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm absent most of the time from my meetings. But I have the highest ratio of termination within my teams. Whether you talk about Mobilink Jazz or Lakson Group or here at AQH, HR always hate me. That what do you do?
Right.
So I always give them full throttle of their capacity. And then I see, okay, guys, these two are not fit for the team. These they're poison. So this will multiply. And by that time, we have enough evidences and instances and enough reasons. So that this formula is actually helped me in my whole career of, if I say for last, at least for 10 years, I am doing this. First few months with any team, I have managed lots of other teams, and I do the same. I give them full trust, and I do a lot for them in early days, and then I see who is doing what.
Right.
So this is working, at least for me.
And I think this is definitely going to be beneficial for our viewers as well, whosoever is listening to us, listening to you, and whosoever is watching us at the moment, because you have been, mashallah, very successful through the years. So this is definitely, I'm sure this will definitely help people who are struggling on the subject. So can we say, I mean, of course, considering your explanation or the details that you shared, it is definitely very informative. Can we say that this managing people is an art?
Yes. So it's an art. Whatever we have discussed, it's all intangible, not objective based. I mean, primarily, and emotional trust and everything. So these are all artistic stuff related to people management. But people management is not limited to this art only. It's in science as well. So because you need to bring in that art part, like emotional, you should know when to say, what to say to your team, when to motivate, when to reprimand. So these are all part of emotional intelligence, ideally, how to manage your emotions. But it's very, very, very critical stuff for a people manager. And there are people who don't have that element of trusting others. They cannot be a good people manager. So there are some people who always micromanage teams. They cannot be good people. Yes, there can be situations when you micromanage, and then, but you have to go back sooner or later to your shell. So whatever we have discussed so far is all proves that people management is an art. But there are aspects which we will discuss that is it science as well or not. So what do you think, by the way?
I did not prepare myself for the subject, by the way. I had all the plans to ask questions.
so let me give you the science side of this people management.
Science perspective also, yes.
Yeah. So for early days, you only need to use this as an art. And now your team is growing. The time has been passing. And you know, service excellence, or you need to strive for excellence, means you are doing good. Now you need to achieve better and better and better. You need to improve productivity, efficiency, trust, and everything. At this point, you need to bring in those scientific aspects to your people management. That means you need to build proper backups, team structure. You need to review that critically. Sometime you are a very good people manager, but you have not created that right tree or pyramid in between.
Right.
So that destroys everything. So, and if you ask an outsider or outsider within the organization, no, this manager or leader is excellent champ. But if you ask the team, they are suffering. They are not getting what they deserve. Whether it's related to rewards, appreciation, trainings, career path, whatever. So the sometime problem lies between these two levels, because not every time you will get the opportunity to manage your team directly. Especially in modern era, there are structures. So you need to review, being a manager, you need to review that, do I have a right structure, layers for my team, and the right people are there? Okay. First, once you will review that, then you need to see what are the expectations with the team, and are these expectations have been communicated well, that what organization and you are expecting. There are many instances when we get into resolve such issues, and we identified, okay, this was the expectation was not communicated, laid down properly with the team or with the management, that what they're supposed to do. So you need to review that. Then you need to see, to achieve that expectation, what are the KPIs are there. Everything is very subjective, or there are systems to measure that, whatever they are doing, their efficiency, productivity. And in this modern age, if anyone will say, okay, no, how can this job be measured? This is very subjective job. So in my opinion, everything can be measured. If a speed of light can be measured, water can be measured, so everything can be measured. So you need, you must measure everything your team is doing. So you need to come up with the right KPIs, key performance indicators, to support that expectation or bigger objective of the goal. So once you have that organizational goal, and then KPIs of yourself should be there, aligned with that. And then, so every secondary layer will support upper layer to achieve his or her KPI. And this is how, and ultimately you will achieve organizational goals. Just an example, like if there is a factory, and that factory has to produce, let's say 1,000 piece of blazer, let's say shirts, any commodity, shirts. So, and if the factory manager comes every day and say, guys, we need to achieve 1,000 pieces, and so how many time he will be able to achieve that?
Motivate.
Yeah, how many time he'll be able to achieve that? Maybe 100% times. If he's achieving this 100% time, so there are chances he may be working with a higher number of resources. I mean, he has more resources than required. So you cannot come up and demand for the end objective. So what he need to do, he need to identify that how many pieces one labor can produce in his or her 8-hour shift. And then he will identify, okay, one person will produce 20 pieces, and I need to produce 1,000 pieces, so I need 50 people. And because I have this much of machines, so I'll place people X number in morning shift, X number in evening shift, X number in night shift. And to manage them and to support them, I need one technical person in evening, one in night, two in, let's say, morning, one supervisor there, one assistant manager. And then, so as soon as that one labor will achieve his 10 or 20 pieces, he will achieve his 1,000 piece for the day in most cases. And he can bet at any point that he is working with the right resource. He knows that I have a right resource. And if he sees that, okay, if people are not able to, if 50% of the people are not able to make 20 and they are ending up at 15, it means 15 is the right benchmark, and he was working with the less resources, and he need to put in more labor. So identifying KPIs for every single team member is very, very, very important. Then you are able to see that how many people you need to work with, and team gets destroyed when they are overburdened or underburdened. So that's why I call it a science as well. So there are lots
So
of scientific.
very well explained. This really proves, and you made it pretty easier for everyone to understand that this is definitely a science as well. During the course of your discussion, your dialogue, you mentioned that rewarding and some people say that tapping on the back works a lot for managers. So as during your explanation, you mentioned that rewarding or giving them, compensating them to the their performance, for the employee performance, does something to the extent, of course. But some people believe, as I just mentioned, that tapping on the back works a lot. So some managers, not people, of course, the managers believe that that is something which can serve the purpose of managing a team well. So I would like to ask that, and I certainly believe that this is not the case. Just tapping on the back, giving him a raise or compensation, or giving him rewards, him or her, of course, cannot do everything. So how do you look at it, and what qualities do you think that a leader should have? A good leader, a good people's manager.
So as I said in the start, that I'll not get into the very formal or where we all believe in, the world believes. So I'll just mention some other aspects which sometimes people ignores. One is, so again, don't take me, the other way, those who are listening or viewing this, I'm not getting into those formal qualities which we all believe in. So the other aspects. One is that a people manager should be very objective based, whether he is rewarding or reprimanding or appreciating. And it's not that that objective is within his heart. Let's say Khurram is uh, doing some fantastic work, and he was on a project side by side with me, and we were able to achieve that XYZ stuff. And next day or next month, I have given him incentive or reward or promoted him. So that may create some confusion in the team. So objectivity was there, but that objective was not communicated to the rest of the team. So what I mean from being objective is that there should be some objectives in appreciating it, but that should be communicated as well to rest of the team. Like if we are rewarding, so I really want to appreciate these 3 people. Their area was stuck during this rain, all flooded, but they were managed to come to office. And I really want to acknowledge their effort. And I wrote an email copying the whole team, giving them the instant recognition, because the rest of the 70 people also came during that train. I'm only rewarding these 3. If I reward them directly, because I knew that how they reached in the office, that will create confusion among the other 70 people. So what I'm doing is I'm explaining it loudly to everyone that this was the situation they were in. And that's why I really appreciate that instead of making an excuse, they have shown themselves here in the office and they are doing their job. So in that case, the other 70 people will not mind it. Even they will say, okay, yeah, right. And they will also go to them and appreciate. So that I mean, that even if you're rewarding or reprimanding, there should be objectives. So once you will have those KPIs in place, you will easily be able to identify the objectives, and everyone will be able to see, okay, why he's been rewarded, and the underperformer, why he has been reprimanded, because the expectations
Right.
were set and everything. So one is that being objective. The other is he should be master of emotional intelligence,
That's
the
true.
sympathy, empathy, and compassion. And so you just put in all those ingredients. And we use those. I know the guys use their emotional intelligence very smartly when they are in a relationship with their girlfriend or fiance. They exactly know when to sympathize, when to empathize, when to, I mean, if you observe them, uh, they use this very smartly. When to
Absolutely.
reward, when to reprimand and take your face away. But when they become manager, they become very linear line. I mean, there is no emotions. I sometimes I ask my supervisor, guys, you're human, so you should feel good sometime because your team is doing good, and you need to express whatever you are feeling. So yeah, so it's was my third point. So emotional intelligence, and it comes under that. So one has to have that acting skill. If you're not a good actor, I doubt that your team will remain very happy with you. If you want to achieve that very happy level, your team is after you, behind a leader. So you need to be a good actor, because it's humanly impossible that you always feel the same, whatever the situation is. So sometime you're feeling the same what situation is demanding, but sometimes
But
you
not
don't feel that way what situation is demanding. In that case, you need to act. So you need to show that. And I'm honest with my team, but that honesty is useless. Or I'm very appreciative to my team, I really value them, until I express, until I visualize this to everyone. Okay, so someone has a baby, you should be as excited that as you had a baby. So, oh wow, it's a
I
boy.
Anwar,
So
I hope your team is not watching this live.
so I'm giving some very common life examples, uh,
Right.
which usually happens. Of course, I mean, against performance rewards, we do managers. We do see managers really very excited, but people under you are very smart. They say, he's excited because he has some his own benefits. If team has achieved something, it means he has achieved something. That's why he's excited. He is not loyal to us. So they are waiting for the scenario and situation when it doesn't matter to you. And then at that point, how you are reacting. At that point, how you are empathetic, or you are showing sympathy, how you are showing yourself. So I don't know how many people believes, as I said in the start, people management is very subjective. Everyone has their own style, but trust me, these are the things which usually people miss, and they need to learn this. And these things are not natural. These can be learned and practiced. Third thing is, we write everywhere biasness and fairness, that I'm very unbiased, I'm very fair. Okay, you are. I truly believe your leadership believes, your HR believes, does your team believe that you are unbiased and fair? So that you need to reflect. So
Yeah.
even again, I'll take tiny examples. Even if at coincidentally, you had a lunch with one of your team member today because you met in the cafeteria because of the same timing, try to not to repeat this week again with that guy or girl. So identify someone else to have lunch in the same cafeteria. Or if you are talking to specific people on the office floor during on the workstation where everyone can see, so you need to do it with others as well. If they found you standing beside some specific people's cubicles, they will start marking. Their mind is so sharp. Uh, so they have separate employees for these things. They keep on counting. Okay, boss did this, boss did this. And then you listen those things with the help of Chinese whisper in a louder way. So you need to show that you are unbiased. You need to show if you are promoting someone, rewarding someone, you need to give that objective and loud clarity why this has been done, why this is happening. And if you went to a wedding of one employee, try to go, if not in everyone's, but at least 2, 3. You need to eliminate that individual factor.
Right.
So these are some, and there are many, but we have limited time,
Yeah.
so I'll not get into. I used to do a full day session on people management, this topic, so
Right.
we'll be more concise.
Though you very well explained quite many elements that may impact your managerial skills, not skills, in fact, managerial performance, anyone's managerial performance. But if we look at from a little different, if you look at it from a little different angle, that mistakes is something that everyone does. We all do mistakes, commit mistakes at times. It just happens. We don't do it willfully, of course. So, what do you think about this part of life, about this part of professional life? In fact, that how or what are the elements that can actually minimize the effectiveness of a people manager? Because this may happen at any time, at any point in time, with anyone, of course. Things may go wrong, or definitely considering mistakes first, and then what are the elements that actually that actually happen in most of the organizations, and they minimize the effectiveness of managers or team leaders.
So first of all, whatever I said earlier, so you can, if you are not doing that right, that will directly minimize the effectiveness. Beside those, that means if you are lacking emotional intelligence, if you're lacking fairness, if you're lacking trust, if you're lacking those scientific aspects, so that will minimize your effectiveness. Beside those, there are the other stuff which actually minimize the effectiveness are, you can say, when organizations goal is something and that has been communicated to you, but you were lazy enough, or you were concerned that if I'll communicate the same objective or goal to the team, how they will interpret it, and you hide that whole thing, then there are chances that team is going on a different direction and organizational objective is on a different direction. What happens then? At some point, after some point, you and organization realize that team is not productive because their goal is not achieved, or they are unable to, or they are behind target. At that point, for your top leadership and yourself. Both immediately believe or show that this team is ineffective. And actually, the case was different. Case was that organizational objective was not translated properly within the team. So I'll go back to that scientific one, that KPIs are live stuff. Processes are live. Job descriptions are live. Live means are like a living thing, can be changed, can be modified. So if my team has KPIs this year or this quarter, it doesn't mean that their KPIs will remain forever like this. So now the objectives have been changed, and there are new objectives have been added, targets have been revised. So your team objective should be revised, their KPIs should be revised accordingly. I'll get back to that example of 1,000 pieces of shirts. If that manager's target has been changed, let's say, to 3,000 pieces a day, and if he's continuing with the same number of labor and with the same KPI of 20 piece per day, it's impossible that he will be able to achieve that target. And so what he was supposed to do, he need to revise some KPIs, that guys, we are in pressure now, we need to produce 30, but still 30 makes 2,500 pieces. And he will go back to the senior leadership and say, okay, I need 10 more resources or labors to achieve this targets, because yes, I have enhanced the target, increased the target for my team or KPIs, but still we'll be short, and I don't want this to be in a situation at the time of delivery. So if you are flexible in evolving or adopting or modifying your processes and KPIs, you will not be in this situation. Again, these are, additional stuff I'm talking about, which we usually don't consider. I have seen organizations, and I think 90%, I'll not give even 80-20. In 90% organization, you go and you check their job description, you'll find it 2000 BC, 1400 BC. I'm just exaggerating, taunting, being sarcastic. That
Yes.
those documents are so old. When the organization formed and first HR came, they prepared a job description document, and you find that, oh, they are still have those same documents. Some people say, no, these document doesn't matter. Yes, sometimes doesn't matter, but when you will not be able to deliver some critical stuff, everything go back to those documents. And then they will say, okay, I have this, I was doing this as an additional, my KPIs still says 20 pieces a day, I have done 22, and he is reprimanding me for 30 pieces. So this is very layman example again, but I just want to give an example. So beside known aspects of ineffectiveness, these are few scientific aspects which you miss.
Very true, Anwar. This has been the case with most of the organizations, even some good, to my surprise, and to everyone of our viewers' surprise. Uh, Initially, when I joined a multinational, this has been the case. The documents stay unchanged, and they don't tend to bring about changes or keep developing them with the passage of time. This should be the case, and you rightly said that the effectiveness minimizes by big margin, because when you document things, when you know that KPIs have to be updated with the passage of time, with the needs of the company or the organization, this definitely helps the the manager in first place, and the team and the organization, everyone at large. So, rightly said. Any closing remarks or suggestions to our viewers on people management?
Yeah, so I'll go back to the topic. People management is an art and science. So most of the time we focus on the artistic aspects of people management, and we miss those scientific elements. So if you want to be a good people manager, you need to focus on both sides. And what we discussed today, these are very limited ones, and there are many. So and one can brainstorm. And you don't need to get into books and everything. You need to draw things from your departmental or organizational objective, and then start dropping it down. You will get everything. You will be able to know what kind of KPIs they need to have. So don't ignore scientific and elements while managing people, and don't get completely into scientific stuff and ignore the emotional side of managing people. So there has to be a balance. So this is my
These are your concluding
question.
words.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anwar. Thanks a lot for a very, very informative session with Stryvve Pakistan. I must say that this was almost an hour that we sat for, but I believe, and I am very firm on what I'm saying, that this can definitely be helpful for those who aspire to be good managers, even if we as learners look at this as in order to improve ourselves as managing people. This can definitely help us. I understand this is about life. This is about your professional life. It takes a lot of time to develop skills, to learn with the passage of time. But this 1 hour of yours was really informative. You shared a lot of knowledge, and people can learn a lot. Thank you so much once again, and it was really a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much again for inviting me for this interesting topic.
Pleasure is ours.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you all. I really appreciate your presence and participation in today's webinar. Please don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube by just adding /Stryvve, STRYVVE, right after the web address of each of these social media channels. While you may reach us anytime through our email address, which is info@stryvve.com. Take good care of yourselves, your family members, especially your elders and your kids, and we very much look forward to see you soon again. Jazakumullah khair. Thanks once again. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.